Yo, what up, what up, what up? It's your man, Mr. Controversy. Did you miss me? Man, yo, the devil is a liar, y'all. That's all we're going to say. Yeah, it's the 3-point conversion sports lounge. The devil is a liar, but we're not going to let him mess up my joy or anybody else's joy, especially my joy. Y'all see what I got on. But anyway, the 3-point conversion sports lounge, man. We're live, man. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook channel. I'm just bringing in my boy now. My guy Rue is not in the building just as of yet, but I got my guy D Thompson. Danny Thompson, what up, baby?
Man, do you know how this is the first time I've actually co-hosted this show with you? This is the first time I've been co-hosting with you before.
Are you? I can't hear you. See, that's what I'm saying, man.
You can't hear me at all?
No, I can't hear anything you're saying. Nothing you're saying. But while he fixes that, while we get that fixed,
can you hear me?
I can't hear you. But either or, and it might be me again. We're gonna see. But yo, man. First off, man, I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited about the what up? Can y'all hear me? Just let me know if y'all can hear me. Like I said, there's been a lot going on. These new systems. I see, bro. I see. Can you hear me though? WTP? Just let me know if you can hear me. I don't know if tell me if you can hear me. But either or, we doing the show live. Like, it's been crazy with a lot of stuff going on. Definitely excited. You clear? Okay, cool. Let me see if I can bring in. Were you able to hear Danny at first when he came on? Because maybe it's just me. I can't hear him, but I should be able to hear him if he's on. We're gonna try to bring him back on. Danny,
can you hear me now?
I can't hear you, but let me ask WT. Can you hear Danny?
You hear me?
Because if so, then I need to get off what I'm doing.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Both worked.
Yep.
Okay. So Danny, I can't hear you. So hold on, Danny. So this is what I'm gonna do because I think it's on my end. So give me 1 second. That's crazy. You were able to hear me clear.
Yeah,
this is what I'm saying. But Danny, go ahead and talk. I'm about to fix this. We're about to fix this. Hold on.
Yeah, to Raphael's point, it's been a crazy week in sports, and so we're not gonna let the devil, like he just said, let the devil take care of us this week. But listen, we got a great show today. We're talking Lamar Jackson. It's been a huge topic across the NFL and across the sports landscape. It's March Madness week as well too, so you got conference tournaments going on. You know, teams are getting in, teams are getting out. I can't wear my Carolina blue today because
Why
their
not?
season's dead. Right, they dead right now. They're dead.
All right, so I'm back, baby. So look, first off, man, you know what? We're gonna go through our quick hits, Danny. We got to go through our quick hits. We're gonna do the show like we normally would do it. And first off, man, what's crazy is I gotta mention, you might not see this, Danny, but Josh Pastner finally was fired. And I don't want to be bogus when I say finally, but let's be real. He didn't do well. I mean, he created a spark when he first came to Georgia Tech, but after that, besides what last year when they had 2 years ago, I believe when they had that run, he hadn't done anything. Scandals came and followed him and everything. So, are you shocked that he lasted this long?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the ACC, in the you have to win now mode, it's all about consistency in the ACC. There's too many teams, and you know this year in the ACC from top to bottom, it's not been the strongest year in the conference. But at some point, you have to stay consistent. You're in Atlanta. You're one of the biggest metropolitan areas in the country. A lot of high school talent is in not just in Atlanta, the central city of Atlanta, and even in Georgia. And you can't win. Like 500 is not going to work. It's not going to work in Georgia Tech. You know, in a city where they have a history of winning or at least getting to the tournament. Sometimes, Raph, you know, Pastner did a good job at Memphis, but sometimes you can be a little bit in over your head when you're taking these elite jobs, these high profile jobs. And Pastner's a good coach, but I think this time he was just a little bit in over his head.
Yes, sir. Moving on. Also, now this story was crazy as far as the federal judge. So you remember the Michael Irvin situation, you all with the lady that said she tried to sue him for sexual harassment and Marriott got involved and everything. Well, the federal judge finds Marriott blatantly violated the court order in Michael Irvin's case. Basically, he ordered Marriott to release the video to Irvin's lawyer as far as what happened, and they didn't. And so the fact that now they're saying they violated the court, they're saying that Marriott violated the court order. This definitely works in Irvin's favor.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Marriott might as well go ahead and cut this check and get this over with. This was already a bad situation already for Michael Irvin, but now there's some good news behind it. I listened to his statement, I think, through his lawyer, and you can just really hear like the pain this man's going through. Michael's been through a lot, and for something that's very simple that there's really no evidence for. Listen, at this point, if they can't get it, if I'm Michael Irvin, I am cleaning the Marriott out. That I don't mean for points.
Right. And honestly, I'll say this: he's an easy target because of that's how they look at him because of what happened in the past and what he's done in the past. So that's what they're looking at. They look at him as, hey, we can get money out of him, and it's sad that people do this. Women do this. We just gonna tell the truth and shame the devil. Moving on. So also that was very interesting is the fact that Jim Boeheim got fired. Well, he retired, but it was weird because in his press conference, they asked him, was it the last time? And he was like, first he said, y'all missed it. Y'all didn't know I gave my farewell speech or something to that. He said, then he was like, so the lady was like, so are you retired? You leave? Are you retiring? That's up to University of Syracuse. So you're still here. Well, it's up to the university. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, so it appears that he wanted to stay, but he didn't. But Syracuse wanted I forgot was it Archirel?
Adrian Autry, former
Adrian Autry, yeah. He wanted him to become they wanted him to become new head coach. But just the fact that it just seemed weird that it's like Boeheim, he really wanted to stay.
I think if you look at it from the perspective all year, he's kind of mentioned that this was going to be the end. What he was referring to at the last home game was the kind of last speech he had made, about enjoying his time at Syracuse. He even told the recruits that came in this class that he was going to coach them this year. At some point, a transition had to be made. He was there 47 years. He's been through so much. He is the last pillar, Raph, of the Big East as we remember it. Like the old school Big East, 1980s, 1990s Big East. He's the last piece of it left. And now he's going to retire. I think he's second all time behind Coach K in victories. And, you of course you wanted to see the big old tour, but Syracuse did what they did, and now the program's in the hands of Adrian Autry. That's where it is now. And, I hope that him and Syracuse can work it out. He could kind of go into a Coach K kind of consulting role afterwards, but we'll see how that turns out.
And then Patrick Ewing was relieved of his coaching duties on Thursday by Georgetown. Now, Ewing was 75 and 109 in his 6 years of coaching. I mean, he had a good run a few years ago, and then it just went downhill. Do you agree with the firing? Or do you say because he's an alma mater and he's Patrick Ewing, maybe should have got 1 or 2 more years left?
They got rid of John Thompson's son. So he gets no mercy at this point.
That's John Thompson's son. You don't want him a title.
I mean, think about this. Okay, but it's John Thompson's son. Of all people to get rid of that quickly, John Thompson's son. No. It should have been, he had one run. If you take away that one run they had in the COVID year when they won the Big East tournament, it's been even worse. His teams are overmatched. I mean, it's sad to see, Pat's teams go in that direction, but it's a different type of game nowadays, and he should have been gone honestly 2 years ago. After that run, he would have got one more year, and that was it. But It was time. The same way it was time for Pastner. It's been past time for Pat.
And then last but not least, your boy Sean Kemp. Man, so Sean Kemp, let me just tell you, so he was arrested on some charges of I think it was a drive-by shooting on Wednesday, and but he was released without charges on Thursday. So basically, Kemp's lawyer stated that I think it was a phone that was stolen from him. He went and chased the guy that stole the phone. They was driving. The guy started shooting at him, and then Kemp started to proceed to shoot back. And Kemp's lawyer said it was in self-defense. So after they booked him, police said, you know what? They're right. And that's what happened. They released him. Let me ask you this. Do you believe that was it? Do you think that because he was Kemp or what have you?
I mean, drive-by shootings happen all the time. It just so happens it happened to be with a former star of a team that was in Seattle. I think in most cases, I think 99 out of 100 is not really a news case, but because of Sean Kemp, it is one. I'm just glad that they found out it was self-defense. And I'm glad nobody was really hurt in the matter. That's the two things you worry about. But it also teaches you, if you have an iPhone, make sure you have the tracker on your phone at all times. Because I'm not saying go out and try to retaliate, but at least you know where your device is and you can have somebody go get it, at least bare minimum.
Right. Yeah. Definitely, man. So look, all right, bro. We got to take a quick break. Quick break. We'll be right back. Let's let Flavor Flav holler at him, man.
Hey, yo, check 1, 2. Flavor Flav in the building, and you know who you listening to? The 3-point conversion. Flavor Flav in the building.
All right, so
yo, check 1, 2. Flavor Flav in the. Hey, yo, check 1, 2. Flavor Flav in the building, and you know who you listening to?
We got to talk about the Bears situation. We got to talk about this big trade. And once again, if y'all looking where this is unique, our other platform that was going on, we were having problems, so it's all gravy. But big trade happens. Big trade. So the Bears finally they made the trade, and it's funny because Ryan Poles spoke of this. He said it could happen, and said that they have suitors and they want to trade. They want to possibly trade before the free agency started. He said this at the combine. So Bears trade the number 1 overall pick to the Panthers for this year's number 9 pick. For the Panthers number 9 pick, their second round 61st pick, 2024 first round pick, 2025 second round pick, and wide receiver DJ Moore. So first, Danny, when I first heard this, when I tell you I was shocked, Like, it didn't hit me what all happened. I saw the first round pick and I saw DJ Moore. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I didn't like it. I ain't gonna say I didn't like it. I didn't love it. I was glad we got rid of the pick, and I was glad we had, multiple picks from it and DJ Moore. But when I start thinking about it, when it start processing, because it was out of shot, they gave up a lot.
They did. I'm not even sure how I don't know. At first, my first reaction to the deal was, what just happened here? The Bears just basically fleeced Carolina at us because Carolina, one of the things the Panthers had struggled with all year is getting open. Outside DJ Moore, they struggled to get the ball to wide receivers. But DJ Moore is like a perennial 1,000-yard receiver. So for Carolina to give him to Chicago in a deal where you're swapping picks, I'm completely confused what Carolina's doing. I know from the Bears' perspective, the best part about it is DJ Moore is the highest paid Bear on the roster right now. Just think about that for a second. He's the highest paid Bear on the roster at the current moment. They gave Justin Fields a number 1 receiver. They now they moved down. They're still able to get an impactful defensive player. You're still able to get another second-round pick. And rookie quarterbacks in the NFL draft, they don't really go in and set the world on fire their first year. So that pick in 2024 potentially could be a top 10 pick next year, if not even top 5 next year. So the Bears fleeced Carolina at this deal. And the more I think about it, being a Falcons fan, I'm laughing every second of the way at this.
Yeah, this is what I say though. We're going to talk about the Panthers first, and I'll get on with the Bears. As far as the Panthers, it was desperation. But here's the thing. If they mess around and hit on a quarterback, say they get Bryce Young or Stroud or whatever, and the quarterback pans out very good, they're good because they got their guy. That's what they want. We might say they got fleeced, but if it was a particular guy they wanted and they get him, then it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. My only thing is, Danny, with this talk, I don't know how true it is, but this talk that they might trade again, Panthers, and trade the first pick, that'd be stupid.
Extremely.
That'd be dumb. But hey, go with your pick, man. I like the aggression. Like, to me, I don't fault any team that shows aggression for getting a certain player or their guy. Like with the Bears and Trubisky. Only thing I was upset at is the fact that I don't know if we had to trade that number 2 pick to the 49ers. I get it now, especially being in that position. So maybe we felt like we did. But at the same time, with the aggression they made, they went after a quarterback. I was fine with it. As the Panthers franchise, you should be happy that your general manager is saying, you know what, let's go for this guy. Let's go ahead and we're going to get our guy. We're going for a quarterback. Because what have you all had the last, 6-7 years?
Mm-hmm. It's been a hodgepodge quarterbacks after Cam Newton. The part about the deal that's just interesting, because it came out, Joe Pearson of The Athletic, Panthers beat writer, had said that literally minutes after the trade, not only is Carolina going to look into the best option for them, but if they fall in love with 2 quarterbacks, they're looking to move down and reacquire picks. To me, like you said, it makes no sense. Because even if you trade that pick and acquire multiple picks, you just lost DJ Moore in the process. If you look at the receiving core right now, it's Terrence Marshall, Shi Smith, and I'm sorry, Raphael, I think they're going to ask you to come out, me and you go out there and play receiver as well, too, because there's literally nobody there.
Right.
Carolina, they had to make some adjustments on the salary cap, but you're right. If you're going to get your guy, you better take CJ Stroud, you better take Bryce Young if that's your pick. Because truth be told, if you moved up 8 slots and you draft Anthony Richardson, you can only imagine the complete foolishness that will happen among the Carolina fan base. It's already split down the middle. You're right. I do like the aggression. But to me, if this was the deal you were going to make, wouldn't you have waited until after the pro days before you make that type of move to see, if you can do it? But
no, I don't think they did that because I feel you're right, but I don't think they felt like they had enough time. Because remember, they said, it's been reported, the Bears came out and said Houston were talking to him. We're talking to him. Indy were talking to him. It was a few teams that contacted the Bears.
Yeah,
so
including
Tennessee
as well too. Tennessee and Titans.
They felt like they had to go ahead and make that deal. I understand it. I get it. I'm not, like I said, I understand it. It's just, actually, I'm glad they did it. Let me talk about the Bears real quick. So as a Bears fan, like I said, I was like in shock and I was like, I like it, but the more I hear about it, the more I love it. Because first of all, DJ Moore is only 25 years old. He has 3 more years on his contract. So we didn't really have to go out in free agency and spend more money than we had to get a number 1 guy, right? This guy haven't even reached his prime yet. Then the fact that, we get the picks, right? Yes, we might not be able to get Jalen Carter because Jalen Carter is not going to slip all the way down to number 9. Mm-hmm. I don't think. So fine. But yet still, we still have the most money in free agency. We control free agency for the most part. So we can get our tackles. We can get a linebacker. even maybe get a D tackle. And then when it comes to the draft, all right, that's when whatever we didn't get in free agency, let's get that person now. Let's get them. I'm praying to God that we get the cornerback from Illinois. I would love him.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get a tackle. We don't get a tackle free agency. We will get that too. So right now, we're just in a good spot. It shows that they're, all this talk all off season talking about the Bears should trade Justin. Shut up. That was dumb. I've been saying that. And, shout out to Kyle Nash. Kyle Nash reminded me, I was on this show before the season started, and I said, this season right here, this is not a we're trying to win season. This is long as we see Justin Fields come in and he shows progression. We just want to see progress. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Progress, we lose. The Bears went out. It's a win for the Bears. We don't want to try to make the playoffs or be in that 8-8 spot and miss the playoffs, but then have like a 16th overall pick. No, we didn't want to. It worked out perfectly. Justin Fields showed how dynamic he was with no help, no wide receivers, no line. Then on top of that, we don't win. We get Claypool in the trade, which everybody was like, well, you trade a second round pick. And now we get the first round pick. We get that. We get another first round pick. We get 2 second rounders, basically replacing the second round pick that we gave up for Claypool. And we get a number one receiver. So now he has weapons. We have money. We'll build around Justin Fields. That's what we need to do. Build around Justin Fields. Now the thing with this is this should build Justin Fields' confidence, because now you have a team that's saying, hey, we're willing to build around you. We trust you. It's all about you now. We're putting our money and everything else around you. And that's what the Bears did. I love it. Pose right now, he should be GM of the year. I don't GM of the year. Dude, GM of the year. The fact that he cleared people kept saying, oh, he ain't, what is he doing? He need to get out of here. He's not giving Justin Fields no help. No, it was a plan, y'all. Come on, think. That was a part of the plan. He had to clear out the team. He had to get rid of Khalil. We had to get rid of everybody else. Now, I wish we could have signed Roquan. I hate that. But, oh, well, I mean, the hell with him. He gone. You know what I'm saying? But he had to do all of that to clear cap space, to be horrible. It was games I felt like we were losing purposely. In a month of, I think it was October, November was like 4-week month. We led the league in scoring per game. We was having like 33 points per game. But we would lose. But so that let me know then they're trying to lose. And which I was, hey, okay. There's nothing wrong with rebuild. I know we don't hear the term rebuild in the NFL, but that was going on. That's what was going on with Chicago. They were trying to rebuild, setting themselves up for the future. And now the window just is wide open right now. Now, don't expect for us to beat Super Bowl contenders or even make the playoffs next year. I'm fine with that. I still want to see progress. I want to see them gel together. Next year after that, then that's when we start turning things around. But like I said, I'm happy, man. It was great for me.
I think we mentioned the fact of they have now 2 second rounders, and you mentioned Jalen Carter's name and maybe even Will Anderson's name. If the Bears really wanted to go back up in this class and go get one of those 2 guys, they have the ammunition to go do it. They have another first round pick they can trade in 24. If you really want Jalen,
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it.
But what I'm saying is, if you want Jalen Carter that bad, or you want Will Anderson that bad, and you don't think he's going to fall that far, you have extra ammunition to go do it. Now, what the Bears have done, as you mentioned, they added DJ Moore. And for those who've never seen DJ Moore, Justin Fields might be the best quarterback that DJ Moore has ever had. Raph, let me explain this. He's had 1,000-yard seasons with Kyle Allen, Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, PJ, the kid that they had last year, a broken down Cam Newton. He caught 1,000-yard receivers with all those quarterbacks throwing him the football. Justin Fields is the best quarterback he's ever had, and he's 25.
Yep.
You mentioned Chase Claypool. You mentioned Cole Kmet. The Bears have a tactical wide receiver core.
Yeah, and everybody falls in place now. Like Chase might not be a number 1, but he's
a good number 2. He's a good number two.
And you don't even have to have a number 2 or number 3, but he's not a number 1. He's that next person. Darnell Mooney, the same way. He's that next person. He's not a number 1, but he's that guy now can thrive whether he's in the slot or out, whatever. Now you can mix things up. You know, it's just like I said, it's just good to see, man. I'm glad to see. But I want to transition to Lamar Jackson. I haven't had the chance to speak about this publicly, and I don't believe you have either. I
had one Facebook post about it.
Okay, I mean, but yeah. So I'm gonna let you speak on it right now. I know they talked about it all week, but do you feel like it was collusion going on with this situation?
It's not collusion, and here's the reason why. Okay, I understand Lamar. We all know how good Lamar Jackson is. He's 46-15 as a starter. He's a league MVP. He's gotten to the playoffs basically every year that he's been a starter in Baltimore. He's one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the NFL. He doesn't get enough credit for being a good passer. He's really a good passer. He just never had weapons outside of Mark Andrews. So the league is saying, well, how come there's not a big, run into the middle of this? He got hit with the non-franchise, the non-exclusive franchise tag. Raphael, in the history of the non-franchise tag, there's only been 5 quarterbacks that's ever been hit with that tag. All right, only 5. All 5 of them re-signed. 4 of them re-signed with one team, their team they were with, and Matt Castle was traded to Kansas City. So
let me ask you, what were the quarterbacks?
It was Steve Young, Jim Harbaugh, Matt Castle. I can't remember the other 2 off the top of my head.
When was Steve Young? That's when he's with Tampa or what? Not Tampa.
49ers. I think it was like 94, 95 it happened.
Okay. So.
Go
ahead.
I got one point to this. In the history of the non-transitional tag, only one time in the history of the league, Raphael, where a team signed a guy on the non-franchise tag and he left the team. Can you name that player?
I know it. I forgot. I know who it is.
It's Sean Gilbert.
Yeah, it was Gilbert, the DN, the D tackle, or something like that, right?
Yeah, he's the only guy. So here's why it's not collusion. The other part is not collusion. The teams that were quote unquote after Lamar Jackson, that was the right fits for Lamar Jackson, right? The Jets, everybody knew about the Jets situation. They're chasing Aaron Rodgers. Okay. We all knew they're chasing Aaron Rodgers. That's it. What it is. Mm-hmm. Atlanta still has a quarterback in Desmond Ridder who actually played well when he started after the final 5 games of the season. And it's technically not a need. Okay. Miami still had Tua Tagovailoa, still with 1 year left of that contract, which they picked up. Okay, Washington is the potential ownership change. So we don't know what Washington is doing at the current moment. We don't know. Because when ownership changes, a lot of times teams are kind of in flux. So outside of those teams, who's left? Who is left to go after Lamar Jackson with the offer sheet? And to be honest with you, the Ravens can match any offer at this point. So if you're the Bears, and the Bears have money as well too. Raphael, if you're a general manager, right? And you know the team that you're offering can go out and literally match the offer that you're going to put out there, why would you do the dirty work for the Ravens? The Ravens don't want to negotiate with Lamar Jackson. That's what they don't want to do. They know his worth. The Ravens are playing the most dangerous game in the history of the NFL because here's what's going to happen. If Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, or Joe Burrow get that extension before Lamar Jackson does, and they don't make it, and they don't pay him, come June 1st, if the Ravens don't have that offer, because nobody's going to give up a 2021 first round, a 23 first round pick at this point. If nobody touches him by June 1st, the Sharks will come. The Sharks are coming. And there's going to be more teams, Raphael, than the ones we're talking about. Because if the Jets don't strike out Aaron Rodgers, they'll get him. They're going to go after him. Don't be surprised if Tennessee, who was looking to trade up for the first overall pick with the Bears as of like 24 hours ago before the deal happened in Carolina, don't be surprised if Tennessee jumps in it. And guess what, Raphael? There's a team down in Tampa who can also do it as well too. But you also have to realize you have to have back-to-back first-round picks to do it. The Dolphins couldn't do it. They don't have a first-round pick in 23. So they have to wait till June. There's like 7 teams that could not trade a 2023 and 2024 first-rounder because they didn't have it. let's wait till June 1st. The Ravens control the hands because they don't want to negotiate. They know his worth. They just don't want to give it to him. They're cheap. That's what really is what's coming down to.
So I hear what you're saying. It makes sense. But this is why I differentiate as far as your stance on it. I get it. But this is the thing. You mentioned the quarterbacks. So Steve Young is probably the only one that I would say, okay, or whatever, that you go after. Now, I don't know if anybody tried to go after him. I can't remember. I don't remember that. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. Matt Castle, stop it. Who was the other ones you said?
It was Jim Harbaugh.
Stop it.
That was the Colts Jim Harbaugh, though.
Still, stop it.
Okay.
And who else?
It was Drew Brees and
in what? In New Orleans?
Yeah.
And how old was Drew Brees at this point?
It was Drew Brees with the Chargers. Excuse me. In
Stop,
2005.
because his shoulder was messed up. Right. So I get it.
And Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins in 16.
No. So here's the reason why. So just with that, this is not Lamar Jackson. Steve Young, maybe. I'll give you, but this is not Lamar Jackson. And we're talking about a prime Lamar Jackson. Like you said, MVP. Steve Young was MVP, but prime Lamar Jackson, right?
Okay.
Well, how old is Lamar? Like 25?
26, I want to say. No,
maybe
no,
26.
Maybe 26.
But this dude is in his prime. Last year, everybody couldn't wait till he came out, right? I get what you're saying. They're not trying to do the dirty work. Okay. But here's the other thing. I'm like, no. You said that it's not collusion because there's like nobody's going to do the dirty work for him. Well, we can't say that yet because free agency hadn't started, but it's not even based on what the Ravens did. I'm not even mad at the Ravens if Ravens say, all right, we're going to put you here. We're going to test the market. I get it. Here's my thing, Danny. How or why in the world, soon as it happened, teams automatically come out and say, we're not getting him. I'm talking about officially saying we're not messing with Lamar.
The only
that
team
doesn't make sense. That's never happened ever.
What team officially said we're not in besides Atlanta?
Carolina came out and said it. Miami came out and said it. No, it was multiple teams, bro. Multiple teams came out officially and said it.
No, Carolina said that we're not likely to go after Lamar Jackson. Miami said Tua is our guy.
We're not going after Lamar Jackson. They didn't even say Tua was a guy at that point. They said we're not going after Lamar Jackson.
Mike McDaniel said that Tua is my guy. He's been saying this literally for the last 10 months now. Tua is his guy.
I'm not saying Tua. The Miami Dolphins said it. Forget the coach, because it's been a lot of times where the coach said we want this and we want that, and they were trying to trade. My thing is that doesn't happen. Teams don't come out and say that.
But
first, hold on, Danny.
The Dolphins came and traded for him. They came down with 23 first round.
Let me hold on. The first 3 minutes, soon as 3 minutes, I could see if this was June or April, or I understand that. If teams like, nah, we good, nothing wrong with that. Bruh, the first 3 minutes of him getting put on this franchise tag and everybody in mama talking about, no, we're not doing it. What? So yes, it comes off very fishy. It comes off something's not right. Because remember, this is right after the combine. Everybody was there for the combine. Owners are there. The GMs are there. Well, the GMs are there. They talking amongst each other. That's what happens. It seems real fishy. Now, here's the other part of it. So that's why I think it could be collusion. I believe it could be. But then here's the other part of it with this situation. Lamar Jackson is hurting himself because he need an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this before. I said this during the season last year. He needs to get an agent. I said it before the season because the fact that he doesn't have an agent, I don't feel like he's, at times where he should be saying, look, you know what? I'm through with it. Forget it. Because the problem is both sides, they want to be with each other. So because you don't have an agent not talking as, all right, we're friendly, we're cool. Lamar's looking like, these are my people. Well, if we can't, well, all right, well, we just go back to the table next year, or I want to be here. And no, agents don't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Agents are, hey, this is what my guy wants. This is what I believe he deserves this. He gets that. Other team, well, we can't do that. Well, you know what? Well, releases the traders or whatever they got to say. Like this joker didn't even unfollow him. You know, that's the thug move in sports. You got to unfollow the team. He didn't do that. So
Trip social media.
yeah. So my thing is, I don't know if he really going to get somewhere without an agent. He needs an agent, and I think that's
I agree.
what's messing him up.
But I think when you mentioned the Miami Dolphins, right? The Dolphins couldn't make the trade anyway because they don't have a 23 first rounder to give, because you have to give up 2 concurrent first round picks. The Dolphins pick was forfeited in the last scandal the Dolphins were in, so they don't have a first round this year. They forfeited. So it's only 31 first round picks instead of 32. So the Dolphins actually could not get into this contest until after June 1st. But to your point,
okay, speak on the June 1st. A lot of people don't understand that.
So I say June 1st because post June 1st, there's cuts that happen after June 1st. So you can cut a guy now, but you might be able to save more money if you cut them after June 1st. An example, the Buccaneers are cutting Leonard Fournette. They're cutting him, but it's going to be after June 1st because I think it's a $7 million savings if they wait till June 1st. Leonard Floyd and the Rams, they're going to cut Leonard Floyd eventually. It's going to come after June 1st because they get more money back towards the cap. So in the NFL, if you always pay attention, there's always 2 sets of free agencies. There's a free agency that happens, I think, on the 15th, when everybody's open. But then there's a second free agency in June, right before we get to training camp, because there's going to be more guys available, and teams will save money to say, you know what, we're not going to spend all our money now. We have the draft coming up, and you know what, there's going to be a couple of guys we need out there. You might want a Leonard Fournette because you might need like a power running back. Leonard Floyd is one of the best pass rushers. I think averages almost 9 sacks a season over the last 4 or 5 years. So if you need a pass rusher and you don't get in the draft, you can get them after June 1st. So there are going to be more teams that are going to be active. Like I said, Tampa is a team that you actually might want to be worried about if you're Baltimore, because he's from Florida. He's from Florida. They want to win another Super Bowl, and you're going into the season without Tom Brady, and your starting quarterback is Kyle Trask. And Tampa, literally, if you add Lamar Jackson to Tampa, for example, Raph, you already know what this means. Tampa's right back in there with everybody else as far as a Super Bowl contender. And there'll be other teams after June 1st. That's why the Ravens are on the clock. But you're right. Lamar needs an agent. And the thing is, I'm not trying to downplay the player, but there's so much that goes into contracts, right? There's so much negotiating. You mentioned the power struggle. Well, if an agent has an understanding with the team or multiple teams, they can use that leverage to get their quarterback paid. David Mujeta is a prime example of this. David Mujeta is the agent for Deshaun Watson. Literally, this man got 2 max deals within a 19, 20-month period because he had the one deal in Houston, and then he got reworked to the deal he got in Cleveland because he's a power agent. Lamar needs one of those to get that type of deal. He wants that $240, $250 million that Deshaun got. You're going to need an agent that's going to be able to be power enough to tell them this is what it's going to be. Either he plays for this or he doesn't. Lamar, you can say he's a good guy. He's a nice guy. He's a good kid. He's an amazing human being with a great stature around him. I don't think he has enough power and enough juice to say, I'm not playing in Baltimore unless it's like this.
All right, man. So just real quickly, what do you think will happen? Do you think he ends up in Baltimore? Do you think another team will surprise everyone to get him?
I think I've always said if he ends up after June 1st, I think it's Atlanta and Tampa. I think Atlanta and Tampa will go after Lamar Jackson. Or if the Jets don't end up with Aaron Rodgers, the owner for New York has already said, if you're chasing Aaron Rodgers at a $60 million paycheck, he chased Derek Carr, he will chase Lamar Jackson.
Right. So
those are the 3 teams I see if it's not done by June 1st. And I mean, as a Falcons fan, I would love to see number 8 because he's 1 over Vic, 8's over 7, kind of Kobe over Jordan. I can see Lamar as a Falcon. But realistically, if he ends up in New York as a Jet, that's something sick. Or if he ends up with Tampa with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, that's even sicker.
I think, and just to close the segment out real quick, I think anywhere he ends up, because Atlanta, I mean, I like what Atlanta has offensively with the tight end. You know, he loves tight ends, or he's used to throwing the tight ends. And then you have Drake. Like you said, the Jets, it'll be sick. Even with Tampa, it would be sick. You know, they get a nice running game. It'll be sick with the weapons he has there. So I think it works out wherever he goes, and I think it's going to be great. So, all right, man. So let's take a quick break, bro. Dan, you got to stop it.
Listen, yeah, I got one.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
What up, y'all? You know who it is, your boy Kiss. Right now, you checking out the 3-point conversion.
All right, man. So it is now time for the most infamous, the most famous Stop It segment. Let's get it. So, Danny, you want to go first, or
I'm the guest of your show. I want you to go first. So go ahead. Give me the Stop It first.
So, I have two because we're gonna hurry this up. We're not gonna be too long. But my first Stop It goes to Jim Boeheim. The reason why is, so as I stated earlier, if you all missed it, Jim Boeheim, he kind of caused confusion when they asked him about his retirement, and he said, they asked him, "Do you want to be retired?" And he was like, "Well, I don't know." He was like, "It depends on Syracuse." Like, what you mean? But don't you want to retire? It just depends on Syracuse. Depends on them. If they want me to retire, it depends. Insinuating that he basically wants to stay, right? Isn't that what you get from that?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. Well, yesterday it comes out, they asked him about his retirement, and he says he's thrilled to be retired. Stop it. Come on, man. Ain't no way. How are you thrilled to be retired, but just the day before you going back and forth, well, it's up to them if I retire. No, if you thrilled to be retired, you would retire. I know it's been 47 years, but that don't make sense to me. And then my other stop it goes to should I give this? I'm gonna do it anyway, man. It goes to LeBron, bro. So LeBron comes out and says that Bronny, Bronny's coming out. Bronny's a 4-star. I mean, okay. But LeBron says that Bronny is better than some of these guys he's watching on League Pass. Insinuating better than these guys in the NBA. Stop it. For real, LeBron, I know you bigging up your boy. Come on, dog.
Oh, and you saw what happened the next game that when you bigged up the son. You saw what happened, right?
Yeah.
The UCLA recruit went to his behind. They got put out of the state playoffs.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Go ahead, man. What's your stop it?
I rarely do this. I rarely would say stop it to the WNBA, but stop it. The television schedule came out for the WNBA last week. And in the season where there's been the most televised games in league history, I think it's 40 games also season. There's so many games on the platforms. The Las Vegas Aces do not have the most television appearances in the WNBA this season. Why? You have Asia Wilson, you have Candace Parker, and you're telling me that I know the New York Liberty added Breonna Stewart, they added Courtney Van, but they have less television appearances than the New York Liberty.
No, that doesn't.
The last time the WNBA did this was Sabrina Nescu's rookie year, and it caused basically a bunch of bad basketball when Sabrina got hurt the first month of the season. Stop it, please. They're trying to do so much good to the game. But to have the Aces on 7 times and the Liberty on, I think, in double digits makes no absolute sense for the league. None.
No, it doesn't. That's dumb right there. That doesn't make no sense. All right, man. So let's transition, bro, to the Hawks. It's been a full week. Quinn Snyder is there. Danny, I'm gonna get your opinion quickly. When you look at the Hawks, what is it that you see?
I can tell you what I don't see. I don't see John Collins. I don't see Collins. John Collins is averaging less than 10 points a game in the 6 games that Quinn Snyder's been there. Like, where is he? Like, literally, I was watching part of the game last night against the Wizards. I think I watched.
He's been like that all season, but go ahead.
It's even worse now. He's not even rebounding. Like, at least he was giving me rebounds. Since Quinn Snyder has been the head coach, Raph, he's averaging 9.5 points and 3.8 rebounds a game. For a man that makes more than almost most of that roster, he's not even playing in fourth quarters. I don't know what John Collins' problem is. At this point, it can't be the coaching at this point. Because we've seen him with the last 3 coaches in Atlanta that his play has gone down faster than airplanes in the middle. What's that show, Raph, that was on the airplane crash show? Now I forgot my point now, but it's gone down fast. It's gone down. It's gone down faster than Southwest stock during the holidays. They're 3-3 with him as a head coach. But the one thing I do like about it is that he's unlocking Saddiq Bey. Like, Saddiq Bey has been really, really good since he's gotten to Atlanta. In the 10 games he's been, Raph, this is something you don't see from a guy. He is 49, 49, 91. That's his shooting percentages. 49% from the floor, 49% from deep, 91% from the free throw line. Before you say, 49% from deep, he takes 8 shots a game and he shoots 5 of them from the 3-point line.
Yeah, no, he's balling.
So if you want to say anything, Saddiq Bey has figured out how to play with Quinn Snyder and these guys. And to be honest with you, I think he should be in the starting line going forward instead of coming off the bench.
So, first, to address the John Collins situation, I think John Collins, they're just in position again, the same position they were in with Joe Johnson. You overpaid him. You're going to be stuck with him. But John Collins, he can't play with. It's not working with Clint. Ever since Clint got there, John Collins, his production has went down because now he's playing out of pocket. John Collins is not a shooter. John Collins is honestly, he's your garbage guy in a sense. Like, he gets points without drawing plays up for him. Remember the lob that was Trey and John. Now I use that more with Clint. It makes sense. I get it, but so John's problem is playing with Clint. They never meshed. And not saying they're not cool. I'm talking about on the court, and it's not that they haven't meshed. It's the fact that you're taking John Collins, you put him in an element that he's not accustomed to. Yeah, he might shoot more threes, but I don't mean he's a 3-point shooter. He's never been that guy. You know what I'm saying? John's was always running around the year. Remember, he was like, I think 1 or 2 people to average 20 and 10. Like, was the second year? I think it was the second year in the league. Yeah, so that's what he's got to get used to. He's playing out his element. I like that he's going in the post more. I appreciate that. I like that. But it's going to take time. But here's my thing with Snyder. One thing I've noticed, yes, the Hawks are 3-3. Forget that. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect Snyder to come in next thing you know. He came in the middle of the season. Or the end of the season, basically. But the spacing. Drastic difference. The spacing. They've been shooting. I don't know what they shot up. If you could look it up for me. I don't know what they shot last night. But I know at one point it was like the last 4 games, it was 57, 46.7, 52, then 54. I don't know what they shot last night. But you see it, they're shooting more threes, which they weren't doing that with Nate. But the spacing, it looks better.
And it looks more cleaner. It looks more cleaner.
Here's the biggest thing. It's cleaner, right? It is. Here's another thing. Trae Young. We haven't seen, whether it was Lloyd or with Nate, when you think about a point guard or the best player on the team, Danny, usually it's a relationship between that coach and that best player. but not just relationship off the court, but I'm talking on the court. This is what we're accustomed to seeing. How many times have you seen Pat Riley talk to Magic Johnson, or have we seen LeBron James and when it was Ty Lue or Jordan Field or whoever, they're talking to their coach, right? And it's timeout, or it's they're at the somebody's at the free throw line, and you see the other guy talking to their coach, right? We hadn't seen that with Trey in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see it now in these few games with Snyder. You see it after every timeout. Snyder walks up to Trey, says something to him. Trey, either one time I think they were kind of going at it. Trey didn't like it. Trey was doing like, no, whatever. But that's good though. That's fine. Challenge him. But now I'm seeing it where he'd go to Trey and say something. And Trey shake his head like, my fault. Are you right? Or no. Trey didn't have that. People want to talk about Trey spoil this or that. Sometimes people need attention. You know what I'm saying? But I see that Trey is playing much better now. You don't see Trey taking crazy shots. He's always gonna shoot from three, but it's not drastic like it was before. He's running the offense. DeJounte is playing much better. He had a bad shooting night, I believe last night, but just playing better. You know what I'm saying? The spacing. So the Hawks are not gonna get to the conference finals. No, they're not gonna get to the. They might not do that. That's not the case. The Hawks shouldn't care about that. Right now, it should worry about, they should just focus on, hey, what we're going to do to get better for next year. And building this relationship now with this team, you can tell the team is rejuvenated now versus what it was beforehand. So I'm telling you, Danny.
They're in a good place. Yeah. So to answer your question earlier, last night was the worst shooting game the Hawks have had in the 6 games. They shot 44% last night. They shot 46% or higher in every game and shot over 50% from the floor, not the three-point line, 50% from the floor, and I think half of those games so far since he's been there.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I've noticed, besides you saying the coaching of Trey, is the fact that Trey is taking much more quality shots. It's not so much quantity. They're actually better shots. I was watching last night. There were shots, Raphael, where he didn't take that 3 weeks ago he would have launched. That he's slowing the offense down. He's getting his other guys involved. Yeah, the turnover numbers are going to be high. And to be honest with you, Trey's only had one bad game under Snyder, and that's the game where he shot him and DeJounte were just terrible in that Miami game. They shot 5 for 25 in that game. Outside of that, Trey has been really efficient. Okay, that's one of the things. Trey doesn't have to score 35 points a game, but when he's scoring, getting assists, and not turning the ball over, that's just as good as him going for 35. Yeah. If you're getting everybody else involved, it's a much better thing. And to be honest with you, they're playing better defense.
Yeah.
They shut Kyle Kuzma down last night. Big ups to DeAndre Hunter and what they did on Kyle Kuzma last night. So
not just that, Trey's playing defense. That's
another thing.
You see Trey's effort on defense is a big improvement since Snyder. It's very noticeable. It's very noticeable. So, but let's get to the John Morant, man. So now they're saying that John Morant is going to miss multiple games. It's going to be a total of, I think, 6 as a whole, at least.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and talked about, hey, everybody, I don't know if he said pray for him or whatever, but it was like, yo, just keep me in your prayers, whatever he said. But he's talking about mental health, whatever. Like, he was going through a lot, basically. Before we get to Memphis, just him real quick. I think he's going through a lot. I believe he is. But you got to remember, this kid, he's young. He's a kid as far as NBA. He's very young. But even besides Derrick Rose, because Derrick Rose is the MVP, but they're talking John Morant being the face of the NBA. Face of the NBA. Face of the Memphis Grizzlies. MVP candidate. Fan favorite. Memphis trying to get to the top. The best player. So probably providing for his family. It's a lot. Now, a lot of people go through it as well. You know, there's no excuse. I'm not saying, well, that's the reason why. And I understand. No, I'm just saying it's a lot. And that could be it. That's part of it. You know what's the other part, Danny? And I don't think a lot of people speaking to this because they want to say, well, he's been dumb or he's young. You're gonna make mistakes. In the 90s, late 90s, 2000s, you know what was the what was the trend then with the players, the young players? Everybody wanted to be rappers and gangster rappers. Remember that everybody was in the studio trying to rap and be a gangster rapper and all of that.
Yep.
Like you be a rapper, period. That was the trend. Not saying nothing's wrong with it, but that was the trend. You know what today's trend is?
And that is?
Want to be a thug, want to be gangster. That's the trend of young folks today.
Yeah.
He's falling right into that.
It's the old saying where...
And social media.
Social media is part, but you know, rap, another thing is if you think about it, rappers want to be athletes and ball players want to be rappers. It's like they want to trade places at this point. And you're right. If you go back to when Raphael, when you were 24, right? And I was 24, we did dumb things. We really did dumb things in our 20s, okay? I'm not saying that Ja is not immune to it, but we've all done it. The only difference is neither one of us two on this on the screen was making $200 million. We weren't the face of a franchise. We're not, in one of the most urban areas that's involving hip hop there is, because Memphis is one of those areas in the country. Like there's nothing more grit and grind in Memphis. That's the reason why they call it grit and grind. But you're right. He has the weight of the world on his shoulders. If you go back to his conversation in the bubble, he talked about mental health. It's a lot. People can say, oh, he's this, he's that. But people don't understand the pressure it comes. And Raphael, we talk with athletes. We've been in locker rooms for years, and we've seen guys, his age. You've been around Trae Young. Yes, his dad is there every single game behind his shoulder every night. But one of the things I've always said was, and Ja's dad, T. Morant, has been there. We see him courtside every single game. But the problem has become, T. Morant can't be around his son 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He can't. He can't. He's not going to be stepping beside him all the time. It's decisions Ja makes. Luckily, the gun incident, number one, that gun was not his. It wasn't found on the plane, because if that was the case, that's a direct player violation of the player conduct policy. Last time that happened, that was Gilbert Arenas, and that was a 50-game suspension. That gun didn't go off. It didn't hurt anybody. He wasn't involved in anything. But I think this time away, Ja, I hope that he finds the mental health that he needs. I hope that he changes his circle. I read an article this week, Raph. They're comparing a lot of what Ja is going through to what Carmelo Anthony went through in the early part of his career. He was in that same type of line with the same type of crowd. And they said Carmelo had to change his entire circle in order to save his career. I think we're probably at that point with Ja. Everybody deserves a second chance, and I hope that he finds that in himself. Because you're right, Raph. If anybody can be the face of this league, I'm sorry, as we transition out of Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant, LeBron James, we transition out. Ja Morant is what every kid wants to be right now. He's doing the gritty on the sidelines. He's dunking over people. He is loud and boisterous, but he's flamboyant and he's confident. I think it's really a part of maturation, and I want him to succeed. I want him to succeed more than anybody else in the league, and I think he has it. I just think sometimes it just happens, and I'm just glad he's taking the time away. And when he gets back, because I think Taylor Jenkins said he's got some things he's got to do to get back, and they won't discuss it. They're not going to disclose it, and they won't. He says that he's not going to answer any questions about it any longer.
Well, here's another thing, and I'll move on from that this topic. Who else is? I mean, besides Steven Adams, who else is being who's his mentor on the team? You don't have that anymore. Think about that, Danny. Besides Steven Adams, who else is on the team that can mentor him? And you don't have that anymore. So, and that's a problem. This is something, Charles Barkley always talk about that, how it was guys that brought, hey, young fella, you ain't supposed to do that. Chill, don't do that. You know, that's I understand that. Rick, as you say, is his dad being a dad, or is it, no? I don't think so. just because his father cool, his father 40-something years old. Like this is we don't see today, and that's a good question, Rick. We're not gonna see the Magic Johnson fathers anymore. We're not gonna see the Michael Jordans where they look old, they look like they just came off work, worked 3 jobs, hardworking. No, that's not us. If I don't know if I'm gonna wear some. I don't know. I might wear some glasses. My son making 100 mil and he hugging me. I don't know. I might come stunting. You know what I'm saying? I tap on my shoe game now. Whew, be a wrap. But either or, all I'm saying is, I don't think it's his father. He, like you said, John Moran is grown now. I have a son. My son's 19. I could say, hey, don't do this, don't do that. I could do all. I've done that. That don't mean he's not gonna go out and do something dumb. He's a grown man now. A grown man with money. A grown young kid man with money.
$200 million. Like that's a lot of money.
Look what we were doing. We were doing dumb stuff at 26, 27, and we didn't have any money. Just think if we had money.
Wow.
And be the face of the world. And as we got social media, we got 5 million, we got 2 million followers or 1 million followers, or even 30,000 followers. Just give us 30,000 followers each. How do you know how we were back then?
You know how much power John Morant has when he went live at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in Denver. It was seen by almost 1 million people. At 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, John Morant's going live Eastern time.
And what your mother should tell you when you be on the phone or doing something late at night. You know what my mother always say?
What's that?
My grandmother, ain't nothing good going on around after 2 in the morning, at 1 in the morning. Or if I was on the phone, you ain't talking about nothing good on the phone with some girl after midnight. Or if you out that late, ain't nothing good going on. So he probably was drinking or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So hey, he'd be all right. Let's wait and see.
But you mentioned that point. I know before you close the point, I know you were talking about veterans. Dylan Brooks had a great comment the other day.
Right.
And I know Dylan Brooks has been versified with Draymond Green, but a question was mentioned about veterans, right? And his response was, who do you want us to sign? You want to sign Carmelo Anthony? You want to sign Dwight Howard? Who do you want us to sign? These guys are trying to get back into the league. They're not trying to hone in on a guy and be a vet. A real vet is a guy like Udonis Haslem.
Let me tell you, the only thing I don't agree with is Melo was that guy in Portland, because I got to follow and, somewhat cover the team when he was in Portland. And Dame, all of them spoke about that with Melo. I've talked to Melo when Melo was in, the first year he was in Portland. They came to Atlanta. He was that guy. He was.
I'm not speaking bad on Melo in the situation.
But no, but that's what I'm saying. I don't want to say Melo, but I'm saying, but no, I agree with the statement wholeheartedly. I said it yesterday. It's the truth. It's what it is. It's, and that's all.
You know a veteran they could sign if it's not you can't find Udonis Haslem. Where's the guy like Isaiah Thomas? IT, the point guard IT, because he went to Charlotte last year and mentored LaMelo Ball last year, and the problem was they were mad that he was on the roster when the season started because they said all he wanted to do was be around Melo and teach him the game of basketball,
but
and be in his ear.
Well, let me just close with this. It's kind of hard to look up to a mentor when you're looking down on. No, I'm just playing. Let me stop. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Stop it.
All right, man. So with basketball, college basketball is here, bro. And we tournament week, selection Sunday is coming up Sunday. The bubble teams, what teams do you see making it out of the bubble teams?
I can tell you one team that ain't making it.
No, before we get to that.
I'm going to tell you, if you're going to watch today, I know. The game to watch today is Vanderbilt and Texas A&M in the SEC semifinals, because Jerry Stackhouse is almost putting on a run to the NCAA tournament that we haven't seen in years from a team. It was about maybe a month and a half ago. Vanderbilt went to Alabama on the road and lost Raphael 101-44. They only scored 44 points at Alabama. Since then, they have won 10 of their last 11 games and have positioned themselves to get into the NCAA tournament. On their run to this entire process, which can basically break people, is the fact they beat Tennessee on the road. They beat Kentucky twice. They beat them twice. They beat them last night, and they beat them at Rupp Arena. If Vanderbilt beats A&M today, who is literally considered one of the top 25 teams by all the statistical polls that you're going to find, Vanderbilt puts themselves endangering a team that's on that line. You mentioned bubble teams. Oklahoma State's a bubble team. What happened to Clemson last night and then getting obliterated by UVA puts them on the bubble. There's a few more teams on that bubble. Arizona State losing to Arizona now puts them on the bubble. Utah State, if they don't win their conference tournament tonight, is on the bubble. And even Florida Atlantic, if they don't win tonight, puts them on the bubble. So everybody in the country that's on the bubble is hoping that Vanderbilt not only loses, but gets their teeth kicked in by A&M this afternoon.
Mm-hmm. So you have Vanderbilt. Cause
some damage. And the best part about it is their best player is not even playing. He's injured. So
wow. Anybody else that stuck out to you?
As far as bubble teams go, so teams that are, to me, under the radar, they're not going to get national attention, right? On that line, Penn State, they played some really good basketball. Like they beat Illinois earlier in the week. If they win, I think they're a team that positioned themselves with a late run to get into the tournament. I would have said the same thing about NC State until they got beaten up by Clemson. So I'm not going to say them. There's some teams in the Big East. Watch out for Providence. Providence, they were up 22 points on UConn yesterday, and they slipped and blew the lead. But Providence is one of those teams, Raph, that could get in as an 8 or a 9, maybe even a 10, and they could be one that can potentially bust your bracket. I'm talking about a Sweet 16 type of bust your bracket type of situation. Those are a couple of teams, and then Utah State, whether they get in as a conference tournament champion or at large, I think they're dangerous. And don't sleep on Florida Atlantic at 30-3 and the College of Charleston at 31-3, who won their conference, as teams that can bust brackets as well too. I like those two teams, especially under the radar. And Raph, down your way, Kennesaw State.
Yeah, I was going to say the
Owls.
Yeah, they went on a major run, so that was big. So what teams that just collapse? I'm sorry. What teams that should be there? What teams are on the bubble that won't make it? Let me just say that.
Well, Michigan shot themselves in the foot. One of the blue bloods of college basketball, Michigan. They couldn't gather the first round. Rutgers beat them in the conference tournament in the Big Ten. They have 14 losses. Not too many quality wins outside of the Big Ten. They, I think, shot themselves in the foot. I think Oklahoma State, another team that they needed a win or two in the conference tournament. They have 15 losses. Now they have, I think, 11 of those in the Big 12, which is the best conference in the country. But it's kind of hard to see a team with 14 losses in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Clemson, I think, like I said last night, they shot themselves in the foot because they didn't lose. They got the doors blown off them last night by UVA. You let UVA, a team that can barely score 65 points, blow the doors off you, that's a problem. And then there's a team wearing Carolina blue that's in Chapel Hill that were preseason number one.
Duke?
The first, no, not that blue, that terrible blue, the Carolina, the one that's in the sky. The team that got to the championship game. Yeah, real funny. The North Carolina TarHeels. The first team, I think, that will, after Sunday, the first team in the history of college basketball to be the preseason number one, make the Final Four the year before the championship game and not make the NCAA tournament. They're out. Literally, not only did they lose against UVA, they literally just laid an egg. They laid an egg down the stretch. You know, it's the name North Carolina, but you can't lose at home to Duke and go scoreless in the last 5 minutes against Duke. They had Virginia scoreless for over 7 minutes in the second half on Thursday night and couldn't close out, couldn't beat UVA. They blew games at home to Pitt. They blew just terrible games down the stretch. Carolina will be in. and I can't see my Tar Heels cut down nets in Houston. And the talk
Wait, you
is
think Carolina be in?
No, not cutting down the nets. They're out. They're out. There's no way. I can't see the committee putting them in at any cost. If it is, it's an investigation got to happen.
It's crazy, man, because like you said, they were ranked number 1.
They returned 4 of the 5 guys from the Final Four last year.
So yeah, exactly. So do you think that'll put a stain on Hubert Davis' resume?
It's almost to the point where now, because of this, the honeymoon is over. Because you got to think, Hubert Davis last year, Carolina was. Let's not make Carolina last year's team like before this tournament run last year. Like they were some really, really outstanding team all year. All right, Carolina was up and down last year, completely up and down. They got hot at the right time. They got the right draw. The 7 players that were playing all year clicked together. And truth be told, if Baycott doesn't get hurt in the Final Four, they would win it. Right. They would be Kansas.
Yeah.
You go into this year. As much as I love Brady Manick last year, I didn't realize not having Brady Manick was the key loss, because they brought Pete Nance in from Northwestern, and he was supposed to be the guy to fill Brady Manick's spot. Baycott's ankle hasn't been good all year. It's just been as bad as it was last year. Whatever's going on between RJ Davis and Caleb Love from the offseason transitioned to all year long. Caleb Love couldn't hit a shot most of the season, and Leaky Black is shooting 3-pointers. If you're a Carolina fan, you see Leaky Black shooting 3-pointers, we all have the problem. Here's what Hubert Davis has to do. The recruiting classes have to play. You cannot play 7 players deep and expect to win. You can't. He's going to have to bring guys in. This stains everything. This gets rid of the fact of that Duke, that we ended Coach K at home last year. His last loss inside of Cameron Indoor Stadium was to Chapel Hill, was to Carolina. It also supersedes what happened last year in the Final Four. Raph, you were in attendance. Coach K's last walk-off was losing to North Carolina in the Final Four. That lull period, that great period is now over. They're headed to the NIT. The last coach at the NIT was Matt Doherty. And what happened? Whoosh.
But the fact that he beat Coach K in the Final Four, he don't have to do anything for the next 2 years. He's straight.
Nah, North Carolina's not. This ain't Georgia Tech.
I'm telling you. But what he did, he sent Coach K off in the Final Four. I promise you, he got another year. Even if he do lose, that's always going to be looming, always going to be hanging where he can pour that out of his bag. Say, you know what? All right, but I promise you, that's going.
Here's the problem. Carolina's at the point now. If you look at Carolina's history when it comes to coaches, right? Carolina doesn't really get rid of coaches. The one they really got rid of was Matt Doherty. They got Matt Doherty right out that door. Matt Doherty had literally top flight recruiting classes that could not win. He got to the Final Four with Rashad McCants and Ray Felton and those boys and Sean May. It didn't work. They got to the Final Four with him. They got Roy Williams and won a Final Four without him. Hubert's got, I'd say, at least another season. Because if it goes bad like this next year, Carolina, 20 wins in the NIT is not North Carolina. I'm sorry, Raph. I hate to say this to Penny Hardaway. This ain't Memphis. You can't get away with not being in the tournament and not being competitive.
All I'm saying is, no, you're right. I get that part. But last year, yeah, I mean, he got some people, but recruit. I'm just saying now, we really get to see him recruit. And true enough, that was his first year, and he did that. So it's like like you said, if he comes back next year and they fail, he's going to be in trouble. Then if they fail the year after that, then he might be gone. But I believe he'll figure it out. I
really think a lot of the guys are going to come back because they have the extra COVID year. It would not surprise me if Baycott returned for his 5th year. It wouldn't surprise me if RJ Davis returned. I'm not sure. I think Leaky Black is a senior, and we're not sure what Caleb Love's situation is. But I think Baycott and RJ Davis will return, and I think Carolina will be back in the tournament next year. They have a good class coming in. But yeah, the seat is burnt. The seat is starting to warm up in Chapel Hill. This is not a joke. This is not. You can't go preseason #1 and be playing in the NIT. That's unacceptable.
All right, so let's take a quick break, bro. Let them know who they're listening to, and then come back for more sports.
What's up, family? I'm Real Mike Rob. Make sure you tuning in to the 3-Point Conversion Radio. They got all of it, and they keep it funky. Let's get it.
So, Danny, I don't get this. Right now, what's going on is a big tournament, big tournament, right? And this is not even involving just the United States. This is the world tournament, right? And no one's talking about it. And what am I talking about? People trying to look. They probably squirreling. What's going on? Googling what the World Classic, the World Baseball Classic, right now. That's the
World Cup of Baseball.
World Cup of Baseball. Yeah, the World Cup of Baseball. And right now, no one is paying attention to this.
No.
As you mentioned yesterday, it's not even on a national television network. It's on the MLB network, but it's not on the national television network. That doesn't make sense. And then we talked about it. The names that are playing this year.
Exactly.
For each team, it's loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Like it hadn't been this loaded in a minute, right?
They're saying this might be the most loaded World Baseball Classic talent
ever, right?
that we ever.
Yeah.
And you name it. Who's in it? Yeah, but continue.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean if you look at the talent across the board, right? It's literally the best of the best. Now we've had a few guys come out with injuries, like Vlad Guerrero Jr. He got hurt in spring training, so he's going to miss the Classic because of obligation to make sure he's playing with the Blue Jays. But Raph, anytime for Team USA, for example, your outfield includes Mike Trout and Mookie Betts in the same outfield with Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado in the infield. You got Polar Bear Pete Alonso as your DH every day in the World Baseball Classic. And that's just for Team USA. We haven't talked about the Dominican Republic team, who is probably the favorite, that has Altuve and Soto, and they have Cabrera. They're loaded all over. And then, Raph, the most popular player in baseball is playing for Japan, Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
He literally pitched 4 innings and went 2 for 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why are we not watching, Raph? Why are we not watching baseball?
I don't know. Because at this time we're not accustomed to watching baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the last time, usually around this time is spring training. Nobody watches spring training unless you're a diehard baseball fan, because you got basketball heating up. You have everybody's talking about the off season. We're at the point, the free agency in the NFL is about to start up. NHL is heating up. They're gearing off for the playoffs as well. So this is usually the time where you're like, something's about to happen. You're paying attention to that. You're not paying attention to anything else.
Here's a question. This question I've had about this. You mentioned because they're playing the World Baseball Classic, and you mentioned in one of the busiest sports times of the year. In baseball's defense, could they just play the World Baseball Classic after New Year's? The only thing you're really going against is the NFL, and you're not going to out king the NFL, but you have more television options.
Yeah, you have that week, because with the NFL is basically after New Year's, it's the weekend.
It's playoffs, yeah. So wouldn't it be smart to put the World Baseball Classic? And not to mention, the other part about the World Baseball Classic, which is frustrating, is you have guys who are obligated to play in spring training. So they're playing the Classic parallel with spring training. It's a parallel situation. Wouldn't it be better after to play the World Baseball Classic either after the World Series or like sometime in January after they had a few weeks off?
Yeah.
And then to get themselves ready for the next season?
I would think so. But still, it's just like I said, no one's paying attention to them. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me.
But if you want to pay attention, Team USA is playing 9:00 tonight. I think MLB Network against Great Britain.
Right.
And you know, and one of the stories for those who haven't watched it is watch the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic in the World Baseball Classic with not one Major League Baseball player on the roster. And not say one, they don't even have a baseball league in the Czech Republic, and they qualify. Raph, some of the players in the roster, Raph, are lawyers, plumbers, grocery store employees. This is I just pulled these dudes off the streets and qualified to play in the best baseball tournament in the world. So you got to cheer for the Czech Republic. And if you're not going to cheer for the United States, at least cheer for the Czech Republic. Because they're a bunch of everyday men like the rest of us playing.
Right. Just trying to play. Right. Yeah, man. Like I said, hey, I'm with you. If y'all can't get a chance to watch it during the week, there's nothing going on during the week right now. I mean, I know NBA, but you know, this is the time where people stop watching the NBA as well because it's all about the tournament. So that you know, that's what goes on. So
and for half the NBA teams, your teams are playing for the lottery anyway. Y'all playing for Wemby anyway. So if you're a Hornets fan like myself, the last 20 games don't mean nothing.
Right. So we have to do the what's on my mind segment. And honestly, when you talk about we do the segment, this is like something we're talking about, something that's whether it's we don't understand it, we like it, we don't like it, we're questioning, we're happy about it, whatever. It's just something that we don't necessarily, we don't say, I'm not gonna say venting, but let me get some off my chest, man. Let me holler at y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? I want to holler at y'all, and I'll go first, Danny. Do it for a few minutes. So what's on my mind is I want to go back to this Lamar Jackson situation, and a lot of people want to talk about race, and we talk about collusion. Is it race? No, I don't think. Maybe a little bit. I don't know, because you never know. Race always got something, but I don't necessarily think the collusion is about race. The collusion is, if this is what's happening, they're not trying to pay these quarterbacks all this money. If they give Lamar Jackson whoever does it, give Lamar Jackson a guaranteed deal. You know how much this is going to set the NFL back or mess up the NFL? Think about it. That's why they were mad at Cleveland. I keep saying it. That suspension that happened with Deshaun Watson, that had nothing to do with Deshaun Watson. They weren't mad at him. They were mad at Cleveland. Because then what happens after that? Now you get Kyler Murray that gets that big deal. That's why Geno Smith getting $30 million a year. No offense to anyone. That's why Danny Downs, I can't think of his last name now. Jones. That's why he getting 40-something million a year. The Joker threw 15 touchdowns last year. That's why he getting 40 million a year. The bar has been lifted. It's been raised. So if you give Lamar Jackson this guaranteed money, what he's asking for, 230-something mil guaranteed, which if you're comparing his accolades to Deshaun Watson, yes, he gets it. He should get it. If you're comparing the accolades, like from his standpoint, his camp, I get why he's doing it. Yes, if he's getting that, I definitely should get it. I'm the MVP. This joke ain't won nothing except for the Rookie of the Year, and I won that as well. So just think, if that happens, now Joe Burrow, this Joker, he gonna break the bank for almost 250 something a year, because he can say something that they hadn't said. He been to the Super Bowl. He been to 2 AFC championships. He only played 2 full seasons. Super Bowl within minutes of losing, and or winning, I should say. And then last year in the AFC Championship where he could have won. Jalen Hurts, who could have or should have been the MVP of the season, who should have been the MVP of the Super Bowl, they just lost. He's not going to ask for 250 something million. So all I'm saying is the collusion is not necessarily racial. It doesn't have anything to do with that. All I'm saying is the owners are saying, look, we do not want to set this bar that high again. Cleveland already messed up. We're not trying to do that again. That's why I believe that happened. That's what's on my mind. Danny, 3 minutes, man. What you got on your mind, bro?
You
going in and out, bro.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So I gave the WNBA a stop it earlier in the show, but this was really on my mind. Raph, we go into a season of March Madness. You know, it tips off Thursday on the men's side. It tips off next weekend on the women's side, and we're going to get all this wonderful hoopla and the wonderful press about women's basketball, and then the WNBA draft is right after that. And then, Raph, guess what? A lot of the women we're watching and play in March Madness that they get to be household names, a lot of them won't be on WNBA rosters next season. Why is that? Because the WNBA has faltered expansion so badly over the last 5 years that it's to the point where the people that we watch for the 3 weeks of March Madness, the same way we watch the men, they don't get to play at a higher level. Raph, we're looking at a league now that's going into 40 games. We're struggling because these women have to go play overseas, and now they're being forced to make a decision whether if you're going to play overseas, you're basically not playing in the WNBA next season. Expansion needs to be here. Raph, if you look at the number of names that are in free agency right now that don't have homes, you can fill 3 or 4 teams. Women's basketball interest has gone up over the years. The television money has gone up. And for what people don't want to say, the ratings have gone up as well, too. This year, the first time in the league history, the WNBA All-Star Game will be on primetime television on ABC for the first time in primetime during the summer. They're going to hit probably 1 million viewers when Vegas and New York play in both of their meetings on ESPN this season. They're going to hit numbers that the WNBA probably has never seen before. But guess what? There's only 144 spots. The league has expanded, and I think the Dream was the last team that we had an actual expansion. And Raph, that was years and years ago when Atlanta first got their team, when they were playing at Phillips Arena. So what's on my mind is, listen, commissioners, Val Ackerman, Kathy Engelbert, this has to happen. We need expansion at this point. We're ruining a wonderful game that people that backlash it will never get to enjoy because it's only 144. We need 4 new teams, and we need them 2 days from yesterday.
Well said, bro. Well said. I agree as well. Something's got to be done. We need to. Great basketball, and these women give their 100% into it. And one thing I love about it is it's not just the passion for the game, it's the passion for each other and for the league itself. So I think when you have that, we have to fight for them. What they did for Brittany and how it was just dope to see them. I mean, but we've seen examples of this the last 6 years, 5 years, So no, I agree. But man, I don't have the music, but it's time to go, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been a blast. We made it work. We had some technical difficulties earlier, but made it work. The show was successful. Good talk. Danny, let everybody know where they can find you, man. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Danny, DANNY, number 3 Thompson on Twitter. You can find my work at the3pointconversion.com. We have actually a wrestling series that we started last week, doing our own version of March Madness with the 64 greatest wrestlers we came up with. Myself, Ab Stanley, Eric O'Brien's, and Cortland Griffin. It's a dope series. Check it out. And then check out the work of the 3-point conversion. Also, I have a Substack when it comes to NBA data. So look up the wonderful world of data. It allows folks who don't know about data in the NBA, how it translates to watching basketball. I'm kind of giving you guys a little bit of a different perspective, but trying to help you understand analytics at the same time. So
also make sure y'all follow the 3-point conversion on all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We might have a TikTok, y'all. So make sure y'all go ahead and like and follow. Also subscribe to the 3-point conversion YouTube channel, and also go ahead and follow the 3pointconversion.com. Mr. Controversy 21 on all social media platforms. And hey, thank everyone who listened and watched the show. We appreciate you. Shout out to Danny once again, man. And again, shout out to everybody who was in here. I might not have seen y'all, but people who was in the chat room talking, Rick, TJ, WTP Funk is this? I believe that's the name of his name. But and then people like Aaron Langley, Danny, not Danny, but Vincent the Fantasy Guru, everybody, man, watch, appreciate you. Hey, shout out to my lovely children, beautiful children, my aunties, uncles, nephew, nieces, brothers, sisters, grandparents, cousin. My grandma, shout out to my grandma texted me when I was trying to get it going earlier, and I can hear, and she texted me and told me, baby, who did you have to sleep with to be able to control this? She said that to me. Grandma. Hey, love on family, let family know that you love them while they can still feel it, love them while they're still alive. Eat good, drink responsibly, enjoy some sports. You got the baseball classic, you got basketball, you got the tourney, you got Selection Sunday, XFL. Hey, shout out to the 3-point conversion crew. Until next week, same time, same show, same sports content. Might not be on this platform, but same time. Until then, when you miss me, I'm out. Peace. We out. We're going to let it go like this.